Hello, doctor and everyone. And my name is Magdalene. I'm in Group 1, whereby I'm having also my fellow group members, Emily and Anzi. And in our group, we're going to talk about landfill compactor. So, for the introduction, I'm going to explain what is a landfill compactor, its function, and what it does. So, what is a landfill compactor? A landfill compactor is a machine that is used to reduce the size of the waste. So, how does it do this? It actually has two procedures, which are shredding and compressing. The first step is shredding. When the waste is dumped uh, at the pit, the first thing it does, the machine will go through the waste, shredding it into smaller pieces. But that will be reducing the size of the waste. So all the large pieces of the trash, maybe cans or bottles, will be shredded into small pieces. After that, the second step will be compressing the waste.
Moving on, I'll be discussing about how shredding works. As you can see, this is a picture focusing on the landfill compactor's wheel. This wheel is made of steel, and it's unique as it has spikes on it. We can also call it compactor's teeth. The purpose of this teeth is to shred waste. In simpler terms, it is to break bigger waste into smaller ones. This works as the teeth applies a concentrated force on the waste. A concentrated force is force applied over a small area as compared to the overall size of the waste. And as we have learned, pressure equals to force over area. As the contact area of the spikes are small, the pressure applied on the object is huge. And as force applies a huge pressure on the object, it causes the object to strain. And as it exceeds the object's stress limit, the objects break. Therefore, the compactor's teeth is able to break large objects such as cabinets and wood planks into smaller pieces. Hello everybody! To further illustrate the interaction between the compactor's teeth and the waste, this pin will represent the teeth, whereas this balloon will represent the waste. And as you can see, this pin has a very small surface area, and therefore it will apply a concentrated force on the balloon. And this makes the pressure created huge. And as the pressure created is huge, it will exceed the stress limit of the balloon, causing it to break.
So for the second case, we have a board of pins and a balloon. As you can see with this board of pins, it has a huge surface area. So assuming that the pressure of the balloon, pressure required to break the balloon is constant, the force required to break the balloon according to this board, because it has a larger surface area, will be huge. So I'm going to place the board on top of the balloon now. As you can see, the balloon doesn't break. So a huge amount of force will be required to break the balloon. So now I'm going to restrict that. I'm going to start applying force in order to break it. So, as you can see, I'm applying force and the balloon is not bursting. Let me apply more force. I'm still applying force. I'm still applying force. I'm still applying force, and the balloon is not breaking.
Elton, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So, for the second case, to break the balloon, a huge amount of force will be required since the surface area of the board is big. Now I'm gonna let my friend do the conclusion.
Therefore, the compactor's wheel has spikes. This makes it has a smaller surface area and to ensure that it is easy to break the waste.
Now, upon shredding the waste, we will now have to compress it. So now we have a little container here, which acts as a landfill site. We have a trash here. So let me insert the trash into the container. Now, as you can see here, I've already inserted 2 pieces of newspaper, and it has already taken up almost the entire space of the container. Now, what happens if we compress it? Now we apply force and we compress it. we can see that the volume taken up by the newspaper has decreased by 50%, by more than 50%. In other words, we have additional 50% of free space. So what can we do with this space? We can insert more trash into the container. And for the given volume, we have additionally inserted 3 pieces of newspaper. So what can we say about this? We can say that when we compact a landfill site or a container, we are able to generate more space in order for more trash to be dumped into the landfill site.
We have learned that by applying force, the object compresses and the force comes from the weight of the landfill compactor. Now let's go deeper into how an object compresses. Newton's third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now, when the weight of the car exerts a force onto the soda can, the floor also exerts the same amount of force back onto the soda can. Now these two forces pushes the soda can inwards. Therefore, it resulted in the soda can to bend inwards. Now we can see that the soda can has been squeezed and the size of the soda can is reduced. Now for landfill site, compression is very important because greater compression means that greater amount of waste can be stored in the landfill site. Now greater compression leads to greater waste density. Recalling the density formula where D equals to M over V, M represents the mass of waste and V represents the volume of airspace. Assuming the mass of waste is constant, we get a formula D equals to 1 over V, where density is inversely proportional to the volume of airspace. When the volume of airspace decreases, the waste density increases. Now this is beneficial as the unoccupied extra airspace can be used to store more waste.
Advantages of landfill compactors. The first advantage is that it consumes less space. As you can see on the left hand side of the slide, the waste consumes a lot of space compared to on the right hand side of the slide, whereby the waste is compacted and consumes less space. According to a research which was done in Malaysia, it was found that over 23,000 tons of waste are produced daily. So you can imagine how many tons of waste are actually produced in a day for the whole world. That will be a lot, and that will require a lot of land. So one of the functions of the landfill compactor is to actually reduce the space that the waste can occupy. The second advantage is to reduce pollution. It includes all the 3 types of pollution: land pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. It reduces the land pollution through deforestation, the cutting down of trees, since waste is something that cannot be exempted, and hence it requires a lot of land. So landfill compactors play a big role in actually reducing the space that will be required for the waste, and hence deforestation will not take place. And also when we go for water pollution, how does this occur? It's when actually the waste stays for a very long time and it rains. Some of the waste is not only biodegradable, some of them are toxic, and when it rains and the water can actually wash away the toxins and actually go to other big water bodies such as the ocean, rivers, lakes, and everything like that, which may cause a bad environment or a bad aquatic environment for the marines and the fishes, everything that's on the, and also cause us diseases as human beings, as water is an essential need for us.
Moving on, I'll be discussing about some of the disadvantages of a landfill compactor. Firstly, as the landfill compactors compacts waste through shredding and compression, evidence from crimes can be difficult to recover as they are utterly destroyed. Secondly, the process is slightly inefficient. This is because the landfill compactor will have to go through the same patch multiple times in order to reach maximal compression, and this can be costly. Thirdly, the waste breaks down significantly slower in a landfill than even in nature. This is because the waste decomposes in the absence of oxygen as the wastes are densely packed together in the landfill. In addition, as it undergoes anaerobic breakdown, which is oxygen-deprived breakdown, the organic material emits methane as a byproduct. And methane, for one, is a major contributor to climate change. It is 84 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. In fact, in 2018, numbers reflect that municipal solid waste landfill, which consists of everyday items, are the third largest source of human-related methane emissions in the US. It is more than the carbon dioxide emissions by 20.6 million passenger vehicles driven for a year. Furthermore, as waste breaks down anaerobically, methane and other gases are released, causing fire to start easily. Not only does fire cause air pollution, if the fire aren't put out immediately, it might even get out of control and destroy the neighboring habitats.
Alright, cool. Thank you. So, in conclusion, a landfill compactor strikes waste by applying a concentrated force on the waste, causing the waste to break into smaller pieces. The waste is then compressed so that they occupy a smaller volume of airspace, leading to a greater waste density. High waste density does not only save up more airspace, but it can also reduce the leachate created during the process as the water filtration rate is reduced. This is beneficial to the environment as land and water pollution can be greatly decreased. However, a compacted waste has a lesser oxygen level. This will unfortunately provide anaerobic decomposition of waste, which will release methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas which will worsen the effect of global warming. Sometimes, important criminal evidence may be unintentionally destroyed by the landfill compactor, making it useless for police officers. Now, this is the presentation from our group. Thank you for watching.